What's up, everyone? This is Jack Mangan from Support Life and Music. We got a long one today, a great one. Jason McMaster of Watchtower and Dangerous Toys, Farhad Hossain of Shumaun, and Sabrina Cruz of Seven Kingdoms. They're joining us for a lead singers discussion. Yes, LSD. Common perceptions of singers as lazy, egomaniac primadonnas. The pressures on the singer to put on a show through sickness, fatigue, insecurity, etc. Warm-up rituals and voice care. Some quotes from this episode. It looks exactly like a bong, but it's not. I'm very introverted, right? So when I'm on stage, it's like a different side of me than how I am like off stage. This is really awesome and therapeutic for me to talk to you guys about this shit, because obviously it's a thing. There's love for Jack Frost, Todd LaTorre, Municipal Waste, Pat Benatar, Elton John, Metallica, David Lee Roth, and more. And wait, are singers burping on stage? Keep listening to see who said it and what it's all about. And in the evening, she's a singer with the band. What's up, everyone? It's Jack Mangan. You know me through a lot of projects: Am I Evil, Metal Asylum, Metal Hall of Fame. We're here today with Support Life and Music, SLAM. And our focus is mental health, preventing music industry suicide, self-destruction, substance abuse. Just trying to help everyone that we can save some lives. That's our mission. If you are in crisis right now, then do not hesitate. There's a lot of resources. 988 is one of the most famous ones, most prominent ones. If you need some help finding help, then it can wait. Then email me, jack@supportlifeandmusic.org. But enough about me. It is a real pleasure today to have two incredible singers. They're both on the East Coast, so we're off time a little bit, but both on the East Coast. Just two incredible singers joining us today. We'll start with Sabrina Cruz of Seven Kingdoms. Just one of the just fantastic voice of that band. I don't know what there's too much good to say about her, so I'll kind of save and I'll sprinkle compliments throughout the episode. There we go. But thank you so much for joining us today, Sabrina.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. Thank you.
And then also from the East Coast, from a band called Shumaun, who I've embarrassed myself with all the press about them, about both of these bands, about how much I love them. But Shumaun is just such one of the premier prog bands for me. Their music is on par with any your holy crap, I can't talk today. Your favorite prog band. Schumann's on their level. You should check out their past music and other stuff, the covers that these guys do. Anyway, Farhad Hossain, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, man.
You guys need to do all the talking today. Clearly, I'm not up to the task of speaking today. It's a challenge. But let me see. So as the deal with singers, right? So the deal is, right, that you never pack up the gear after the show, right? That's part of being a singer, and it's really all about you. The rest of the band is just there to serve you and make you look good, right? Isn't that it? And
nah, that's a myth.
It depends if you're like playing guitar and doing other stuff too. So it's like there's that other side. So I don't have that luxury, at least.
Oh, you don't just say after the show's over, Farhad? You don't say, all right,
Yeah.
someone get my guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, I one time ran directly after the show because I had to use the restroom. But other than that, I always am like helping, especially in merch. I normally, like, right after I get off a stage, I'll run right to the merch table, hang out, and I'll talk with everybody. And then afterwards, I'm helping packing up the merch and different stuff like that. I let the guys do the gear because I'm just like, I'm clumsy. I've broken my ankles twice trying to help them undo the trailer. So I just be very meticulous with folding shirts and putting things away and, try not to break myself.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, I open that way because, I think there are a lot of misconceptions about and a lot of stereotypes. And I mean, there are the David Lee Roths out there, no offense, DLR, if you're watching. There's a lot of that out there. But I mean, my question then for you guys is, like, what are some of the things that you wish people didn't think about the person on the microphone? What are the misconceptions you'd like to dispel?
I know for me, there's the preconception that the lead singer wants all the attention. But I think, like a lot of lead singers, I'm very introverted, right? So when I'm on stage, it's like a different side of me than how I am like off stage, right? So usually I'm very introspective, introverted, and I could be kind of awkward around people at times. I've kind of trained myself to be better at that. So I'm better than ever at, surrounding myself with people and kind of interacting. But it's different when you see me on stage than when I'm like amongst the common folks, right? Like on stage, I'm like, how's everybody doing? Yada, yada, yada. And then like, a little bit more soft spoken, like off stage. So it's like two different personas that, kind of embody me, but, like I'm more comfortable in that other space and like isolation rather than in groups of people. So definitely don't like that limelight when everybody's just like you. But as a lead singer as well, you're the voice of the band, right? And that's the first thing that people connects with. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. See, I can't talk now either. Double-edged sword, right?
I've infected you.
Sword
Sorry.
yeah, this is gonna go around. Let's see what Sabrina says, and like,
Oh gosh, words. Ah. Well, obviously I'm a woman, so I get like, extremely sexualized. So then like I like to make it like really hard for people is because I now like a lot of people don't know, but I wear cheeseburger slippers on stage. So like I kind of like mess with everybody's perception of like visually like what is even happening up there? Like and also like I don't know, I just feel like for me I'm a very nice bubbly person, and when I've tried, like I can portray that person on stage, but I've noticed specifically in metal they like to be yelled at a lot. Like they won't like raise their hands and get into stuff. If you're like raise your hands, they're like raise your hands. Oh, okay. Like different stuff like that. So it's just like I don't know, it's just like sometimes I feel like you can't peg me from my stage persona because it's very confusing.
Well, hey, we have a surprise guest appearance, a surprise new appearance here. So so apologies if I'm cutting you off, Sabrina, but we
That's
have, so you can continue, but we want to welcome, well, we'll give him a minute to get oriented here, but we've got Jason McMaster is
there we go.
joining the call.
Being oriented is overrated.
Yeah, well, trust me, I've been, that's how I've been this whole call already. So, but yeah, no, I know that's for sure. I definitely wanted to ask you about that aspect of this, Sabrina, like about is it different, even though, your husband is right there on stage with you, and by the way, her husband can kick your ass. So he's a pumped dude, man. I wouldn't mess with him. But I mean, I still know I've been to metal shows. I've been to shows. I know that there is that element out there. So I don't know if that's a real issue or if it's just something I don't know how you deal with how you can contend with that.
Well, I mean, the way I deal with it is to make it awkward for people. It's like I already feel awkward, like I don't know why introverts find this weird way to torture ourselves by pushing ourselves to do something so public and in front of people. Like I really don't understand why we do it. But we're compelled, to do that. So it's like when you're trying to put yourself out there, which feels, raw and uncomfortable, and then on top of it most of the time the lyrics that as a singer is like singing comes from a very deep experience that they had, and it's like you're trying to make the audience feel something at the same time that was like probably brutal for you, and so it's like try to find a way to like make it an enjoyable experience. And so that's why I always like to I feel sometimes that metal specifically for me is a very judgmental sometimes environment, especially towards sometimes the lead singers, like we get picked apart from, if we're sick and we have a bad day or different stuff like that, and it's just kind of like, so you're just up there doing your best, and like you're showing up as who you are. And I started wearing the burgers because it made people laugh, but it started out as a dare, and so now it's just kind of like my favorite thing is when people have no idea who I am, and I like to put my foot directly on the monitor in front of them and then watch everyone's face like, what is that? Because I immediately like to mess with their perception of me, because I feel like that's one thing that happens is, on stage you look like a superhero, and, it's like it's just the cover of the book, and a lot of times they meet you and understand you from the words on the pages that you're singing.
No, that's great. That's well said. All right. Well, that's, Jason, are you ready? Let's do a proper introduction if you're all set
Yeah,
here now. Yeah.
whatever you want to do. I'm here for you guys.
Well, no, I mean, well, thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so if you somehow don't know, Jason McMaster is a metal and Texas legend from Dangerous Toys, Watchtower. Did Watchtower? I traded places a couple of times with Alan Tecchio, great singer. But yeah, I mean, this guy I've been listening to for decades. One of the just a great voice. And yeah, definitely, I'm sure you definitely have some stories to tell. So. I know you came in kind of as Sabrina was talking, but we're like that kind of led to the question that I started with was talked about the misconceptions that you get, like for example, like after the show you just walk off stage and don't move any gear and don't and you secretly think the guitar player's out to get you and all the silly misconceptions people have about singers. Like what do you want to dispel? What are some of the myths you want to dispel?
let's talk about moving gear. Yeah, I mean it's right. The LSD joke, right? The lead singer disease deal. I never got that because for years and years I brought my own monitor rig. Because you're playing in shitty bars and you're not going to hear yourself. And I like my guitar players to get their rocks off too. I want them to play loud as they want to play and as loud as the sound guy will let them or whatever, right? That means the singer gets screwed on monitors, right? So for years and years, I would bring 4 wedges and power amps and a little mixer and a splitter. And I'd hand the sound man my line and I have my own volume knob, kind of like in-ears, but not in-ears. I'm taking up more room than guitar player with 5 pedal boards, right? So I'm lugging in shit and I'm lugging it out after thank you, good night. And I'm wrapping cables and people in the front are like, what's this guy? What's the singer doing wrapping cables and lifting these heavy wedges and putting them in the bay of the bus,
Yeah.
And then, I'm a dinosaur. So, and now I'm a deaf dinosaur. So I switched to in-ears a few years ago and it's completely changed my life, but I'm still moving gear. I have a rack with a wireless mic and a rack of in-ear shit. And I even have the antennas, the big paddle antennas, and I set those up and I run I'm doing shit myself. And, so yeah, I never really fit that. I go, oh yeah, you're the singer. You only have to carry in your microphone. It's like, I said, well, good thing I'm a bass player. It's my joke of saying, I started this whole ride as a bass player, so I'm not really a singer. So you can't, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it was my way to, my defense mechanism, if you will, right? Because every singer sort of gets, I'll admit it, that I get defensive in kind of what she was talking about, what you were talking about, about how they don't know what gear I have to load in or not load in or what I have to go through that day just to show up and be here and the things that I have to think about and do the things I have to do to prepare for what I'm about to go through to, it's cathartic, right? And they don't know that. They just think, oh, it's just a rock show and you get out there and yell in a mic and okay, dude, whatever.
That's not very sustainable, right? I mean, there are,
no. I like the idea on paper is like, all right, we're going on tour. All right. And like, how long is our set? 45 minutes. Wow. And it's how many shows? Oh, you're doing, round it up. I'm doing 150 shows this year. Wow. And I only have to be awake for an hour a day. You only have to be good to perform, a little bit of time to wake up and do the show and a little bit, you only have to be alive for someone else for that 45 minutes. So the rest of your time, you can do whatever you want. that's the perception.
Yeah.
That's the lie, right? They don't understand that those other 23 hours, you can get sick, you can stub your toe, you can cut your hand off, you can, you can't just go out and be a dick. You have to. People don't like to think of the singer. Wow, where's your singer? Oh, went to bed. It's 9:30. Well, you got to think about why the singer would go to bed early or only drink water or, be in rehab because, well, or have to stop doing something because they can't do it like they did when they were 18 or whatever, These are just some of the chapters, right, to the big Bible of being a, rocker.
I think. And by the way, well, I was just going to do a quick introduction. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
So yeah, Jason, Jason McMaster, of course, of Dangerous Toys and Watchtower, and lots of other stuff. We've got Farhad Hossain over there from Shumaun, a great prog metal band out of the DC area, and then Seven Kingdoms singer Sabrina Cruz out of Florida. So I just want to make sure introductions all around. But go ahead. Sorry to cut you off there, Farhad.
No, I was just thinking. I mean, like playing in a metal band, a hard rock band. I think like the lead singer. I mean, it's one of the most demanding jobs on stage. Not just kind of moving around, but I mean, just being a singer and giving it all you have. I mean, it's a pretty demanding task on the body itself, right? You can get sick as a guitar player and still kind of run through the show, right? You can lose your voice, you can feel a little bit, like under the weather. You can still get through the show as a drummer or a guitar player. But as a singer, it affects you directly, right? Like there are times that I have to perform, so I'm, there's the Shumaun, which is usually a 45 to 1 hour set, but then I'm also singing in a cover band that's 3 hours and we play like rather frequently, right? So being under the weather, singing songs that are like in their original keys, like G5, notes that are just insane. It's impossible to do when you're sick. So like Jason was saying, you have to have a good night's rest. You can't do what other guys do because it's going to directly affect your body the next day, right? Especially if you're doing consecutive shows, 3 shows back to back. It's really demanding. So you just gotta, watch what you do, what you eat, shaking hands, and that can ruin the next 2 weeks just by catching some random virus from somebody, right? But then you don't want to be an ass by not shaking hands, right? So sometimes you have to do the fist bumps, or it's like, but like with me, I just reach out and like, hey, nice to meet you, and then pay the price. And there's been countless times, especially like flu season, things like that, where I'm just like incapacitated, but still I have to play a show.
But you want to, though. You want to embrace. They're part of the show. They're part of why we're here. They're part of it's that whole nugget, right? That whole map of love, right? And I've seen some singers, not to jump all around, but I've seen singers just, do the insane, they're doing backflips and they're just retching their voice, and they do it every night. And they go out drinking after the show, and they're up all night, and they sleep till noon, and they peel themselves off, and they do it again. And I recently saw, I should probably not say who it is, but I recently saw a singer like that, and he's infamous for staying up all night. Fuck it, I'll say it. Municipal Waste. I don't know the singer's name, but he is a king. He's so fucking good. And they're excellent. They're so good live. Their records are so fun. They're like the thrash metal, everything about DRI that you love when on, dealing with it, where we're almost thrash metal. And every night, and they're just a party band. And I just can't believe that guy is alive. And so there's these people that I'm jealous of, because it's like, hey, That's not fair. You're staying up all night. You're bionic. You're not human. And that's amazing when I see, I don't want to say kids, but I know he's a lot younger than me. So there's that. But yeah, that's amazing to see, like what you were saying about how you have to be able to, you want to hit those notes and you want to hit them consistently, and you want to do, you don't want to lean in mid show and ask the guitar player, hey, you know, in his ear, hey, I'm not feeling well, can you sing the chorus and I'll sing your part? And I've had to do that before, just because I was just like, dude, something's up, you know. And it's not embarrassing, but it that kind of a thing makes you feel different about yourself. Like, not that you're a personal failure at that moment, but
That's definitely how I feel, like a personal failure when I don't hit notes.
Yeah.
That I usually do, even if the audience, it goes right over the crowd, right? They're just having a great time. For me, at the end of the show, I'm like, ugh, these are the notes that I missed, or you know. So I think as we kind of do that to ourselves, right? We're, you know, our worst critic.
Yes, I agree with that, but it's also the like I was saying, if you lean into your guitar player who you know can hit the notes, hey man, can you cover me on the chorus for this song or that song, and sing my part, and I'll sing, you know, the fifth or the third or what, I'll sing your part. Yeah, no problem, got it. And it's, you know, it's happened in, like, you know, 35 years. It's happened this many times. I can count it on one hand, thank God. But it's still one of those things you never forget, that you have to, you know, what if they're sick? You know, what if you can't rely on your net, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things to think about. And, you know, I think that when I'm doing that, when I'm asking for help, it's another way that I am trying to keep some gas in the tank for the next day.
Yeah, that happened for me personally. I am the only singer for Seven Kingdoms, so if my voice goes out, the whole band's fucked, basically. So, and this past tour we did November and December, the other misconception is that the singers just get to like lounge around and do whatever, but I'm one of the main drivers when we go on tour. So I was driving and we were playing show after show, and we were going through a bunch of different temperature changes from hot to freezing cold. And by the time I got to Vegas, I had a fever and I wasn't feeling well, and I had this like irritation in my throat, and when I would cough I had blood come up, so I was like, oh, this looks great, you know, yay, this is gonna be fun. Yeah. And then you know, and there's no sick days for us because, you know, if you miss a day on tour, the band, you know, like, you don't get paid, so you're trying to, like, you know, perform to your best. And I just, you know, I went up and I got up on stage and just white noise came out, and I was like devastated, you know, because I'm, you know, I'm such a dynamic singer, and, you know, and it was very traumatic for me, honestly, because it's like you have people holding their cell phones like right in your face as you're just like just struggling, and you're like, you don't understand what's happening to you, like, what is happening, I don't understand. And then, you know, so after it was like the worst show of my life, I went backstage and I just like stood in a corner and just like did the silent cry, where you just like, just tears are running down your face and you're just like just standing there, like you're not even crying, you're just like pissing from your eyes at this point, you know, it's just so upset, you know. And then the next day I found out that I had 103 fever, I had strep throat, I had an upper respiratory infection, and all kind. I got like the whole smorgasbord. I think the only thing I didn't have was COVID, but at one point they thought I did. So I was like, I got everything, you know, a petri dish of everything is mine. And it was just really upsetting for me because it's like, you know, you're doing everything you possibly can to get yourself to every show, and then that happens. And then, you know, I'm backstage, I'm crying, I'm upset about it. It's like, you know, I had to force myself through it because we're the headliners on that tour. And then I hear someone from the staff member like, oh man, that singer from Seven Kingdoms really fucking sucks. And I'm just like, whoa. I just was like, I got so mad. and I couldn't process it right. So then what happened is that I didn't go out, it went inside, which was, lowers your immune system more, because then you're internally destroying yourself over your little experience that you have no control over. And then of course people online are, talking about, oh, how bad the singer was. And it's just like, have you listened to her sing when she's not sick? Like, come on.
It's the one YouTube clip that actually goes viral, right?
Yeah, it's like this your worst moment. Yay, drama forever, immortalized.
Well,
I
it would
get,
be
no,
if
go
the
ahead.
if the guitar player's out of tune, and doesn't realize they're out of tune, which that's a ridiculous mistake. But the clip that goes viral is the guitar player's out of tune.
Yeah.
Or the broken string, goes to play the solo and breaks a string and misses the solo because he's looking for the other guitar or whatever. Someone gets fired that night, whatever it is. But yeah, that I'm sorry. I mean, I know that we're not talking about that, but take a moment to all of the infections that you had. It sounds like you were just worn out.
I was sleeping between 3 to 4 hours. I was like, basically we call it rotisserie driving. It's just like every gas tank somebody else takes over, so it was just me and Camden just constantly doing that, and so it was an experience that I will never forget.
Well, that was, yeah, because like as a guitar player, I can tell you, like I remember in 1998, that time my guitar string broke on stage and my solo was ruined. I remember like every other position in the band internalizes it. Your drummer will be like, "Oh my God, I missed the note number 15 of the 16th note run." Like everybody does it, but it's not as focal. Like I will say that also as a singer, all eyes are on you more than anybody else, and so I that's kind of what I'm getting to is like, how do you kind of just shake that off and keep going? Like that's a mental health hit, probably harder for a singer than anybody else. And don't come at me, guitar players. I'm a guitar player, but
Right. I think that it's important to realize that. Well, first, back to something that we've all kind of agreed on is that no one is expecting you to suck. You know what I mean? They're there to see a show.
And not even you.
They want you to kill it,
Yeah.
all the time. And why do they act? This is rhetorical. Why do they act so childish, I'll say? Why do they act so surprised when, you got to take a break, or when the band has to get a replacement singer, or God forbid, right? Or, something is different about the show. Wow, what's different? They have, even if it's just, they have a new guitar player, and then everyone's on their device talking about something's different. I can't really tell, blah, 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 Or you get the new guy has the same haircut, you know what I mean? And comes in and they go, wow, they sound really different. I wonder, hey, Joe, how come you sound so different? My name's Sam. Sorry, I know I look like Joe, but I'm Sam. And it's the same kind of thing when the singer sounds different because they might be sick, or they didn't. I've seen Judas Priest when Rob was sick, and the Stratosphere stuff is that a lot of people just think that Priest is all about all the time. When it's not there, some people get upset. And Rob's got a perfectly fine singing tone. He could just sing in his tone all the time and leave all the highs out, and I'd be perfectly fine with that. Shit, let the audience sing the high notes for a change.
Yeah, when I was on tour, it was funny because I like to refer to my voice as a piano, and it's just like half of the piano went out, and it was all like the most recent album that we have is like in my lower register, so it's like basically from half the piano all the way the lows were completely gone. So that's like everything on the square is low minus like the one song Serpent and Lotus where I hit some really high notes. I hit a couple throughout, but that song specifically I stay up higher so it's easier to sing. But like a couple of the other songs that we were doing is so low, and so basically I would tell the audience like I'm really like, after Vegas when I realized I was sick and I spent some time in the hotel messing around with my voice trying to figure out, can I even sing this? Because it's like either I'm singing this or we're canceling, and then that's going to be a massive impact financially to everybody, right? So it's like either they're playing an instrumental or whatever, So basically, like in the hotel, I started messing around with my voice, and I realized that my highest registers were still working. I could still hit the notes, but everything, like just half of the piano gone. So I was like, I would just tell him, I'm going to sing everything. It's going to sound weird, but it's going to have to be higher because I can't work with my lower register. And like, you could hear when I was talking, like, wow, there is something wrong with her voice. But then as soon as I went to sing my higher register, everything sounded great.
Yeah. Can we talk about that for a second? Because this is very, very hitting home with me as well. Because when you have I'll just call it a chest cold, right? When you have that hoarseness in your chest voice and you're talking like a croaking fish,
Toad.
Right. Exactly. But then when you're using your head voice and everything up here, that's a little thinner and just in a different place because you've got different voices, right? And that's another thing. Your voice is it being the instrument. I like the piano thing, and all the lower keys are just ripped off the keyboard. The the fact that you can sing things, okay, you can get through the show, using this part, but just don't, God forbid you have to drop songs just because you can't use that part of the piano to continue your metaphor.
And we did.
Wow. Yeah. Well, just being able to sing anything up here is kind of a godsend.
Yeah, because I could have lost the whole thing. The whole thing could have been gone.
Well, and let's talk about this. And this is not a pat on our backs here, but a lot of singers don't have an they're not using any of this. Everything is a chest voice. So when they lose it, they're going home.
Yeah.
I mean, kinda, right?
Depending on how bad it is, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's been times where, not making it be about me, it's about us. But when I have some type of upper respiratory jazz going on, you're limited as to, there's like, I call it, here's your range right here, and the bridge is out. See, you're like, you got all these highs, and then you can't quite reach the other side of the, so the bridge is gone. So you can, you got all your Mickey Mouse stuff up here. Bullfrog. Yes. So however you want to look at it, it's not funny.
I like to say it's like exacerbating the breaking point, because like every singer has like a part that like sometimes your voice breaks, so you have to work really hard on making it be a smooth transition.
That's the bridge I was talking about. That's the
bridge. You get sick and it's
Got to plow through that little
yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't sound good when you're trying to jump from the break in your voice, when you can't really use the break. I sing on the break all the time. It's like I made a career out of singing in that Janis Joplin place, the Steven Tyler,
you're one note from falling off.
Like a fry. Yeah, I'm either, once I get to the high side, it cleans up a little bit, and once I get to the low side, it cleans up a little bit, right? So that fry vocal kind of, fake. I'm a fake tenor. I'm not a real tenor. If you look me up on the list of tenors on the internet, I think that actually exists. I'm on the tenor list. I am not a tenor. I am a baritone. But you wouldn't know it if you heard my most popular things, right? Because I'm all like up here in the stratosphere. I'm trying to steal Geddy Lee 2112 all the time, and love it. And I'm just not a tenor. And that tenor voice, I just can't do it, because I use like a third voice or a mixed, right? And that's the only way I can get from my chest to my third voice, or whatever you want to call it. And back to what we were talking about, if that lower stuff is gone, you have to do the best job that you can and really hope that no one notices. It's kind of a
Yeah.
thing, right? And I've had to do that before, where I'm not really using my lower tones as much, or you know, I'll have like a few places in my chest voice I can use, but if I stretch too in the scale too far, it starts to dry up, for lack of a better term, and I have to jump back over the river. You know, let's go back to the visual, right? I have to jump all the way back over to my high stuff to finish the song, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Completely brutal and mentally depressing.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask Farhad, because Farhad, I know you've got a wide range of voices, but I mean, you can get into the Steelheart range of stuff. So how does this kind of affect what these guys are talking about? How does this
Yeah, I
affect
mean,
your approach?
Hi, everybody. This is Brian Pleto, publisher of Coffin Comics, and I'm a lifelong metalhead. But I'm here to say, please support Slam, because everybody needs a hand up every once in a while, and this organization is the right one to do the job. Thank you.
a lot of times, and I'm sure both of you guys have done the same, is, you know, you're just kind of thinking on your feet, and you're just sometimes altering melodies to accommodate the pockets where your voices sit when you're sick, right? So there are definitely times, and as a singer, you kind of know where you can go. Like there's this feeling that you're like, I don't think I'm gonna get there, so let me just aim for the third below. So I tend to do that a lot if I'm sick, is just kind of alter the melodies, and don't attempt at getting the stuff that I know that I can't. Sometimes throughout the night, it'll start getting better, and then I'll start attempting those, or it'll just get worse, and then range just get smaller and smaller, and you're like, okay, well, I can only sing one pitch right now, so this is going to be like Crash Test Dummies all the way through, right?
I have to admit this real quick. It's kind of back up for a second. Thank you for having me. I didn't say that, and I should have led with that. Just thank you for having me. This is really awesome and therapeutic for me to talk to you guys about this shit, because obviously it's a thing that there should be like vocalist therapy. Yeah, I'm going to go see my vocal therapist, where you're not even singing, where you're just talking about, God, oh man, I didn't have the fifth, I didn't have the third, I just had to sing the one note I could find all night, you know. Where is where do you go to do you warm up? What are you doing, you know, when you're shot? What are you doing to prepare for a show? Anybody answer that?
I got one of the vocal steamers. It's so you can get like different kind of steam producers. You can get the ones that like actually like attach to your face that are small and produce steam. But I noticed so I personally have an issue with wind or smoke machines because it steals my breath and causes me to have an issue. I don't know why. I'm just one of the lucky ones that has that. I can't use cold steam, so I got one of the one by Mavis, which is a hot steamer. It basically just boils the water and just produces a constant stream of warm mist into your nose and mouth. So I do circular breathing, but I also use clove oil because it helps with infections. So in the very front of it, it has a container for water, and you just put a drop of whatever essential oil that you want to use. You can use all kinds, but I feel like clove helps, especially with upper respiratory and sinus infections. So in the front, you put that in there, and then in this main chamber, you just put other water. So the first part of it, you steam with the clove oil, and then it transitions to regular steam, and that's like about a 10-minute thing. So I would do that every day before I would sing, and I would warm up with the steam.
Are you singing into the mask?
Yeah, so it kind of looks like it's got a big body chamber, and it's got a spout that comes out, and then a mouthpiece that basically comes over your face. So it's just it's not like a whole kind of mask. It's got pores in it, but basically I just sing into it as I'm inhaling.
Right. It sounds like a kick-ass heavy metal singer bong.
It looks exactly like a bong, but it's not. It's giving you nothing but life force steam for the vocal flute.
No, that's what I mean. It sounds like a healthy bong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
There
Wow,
is there is a product that's for practicing singing that does that. I'm not sure if it's the same thing, but it's like um you sing through a straw and there's water and it's kind of creating that bubble thing where you're kind of like doing the that kind of thing
Yeah.
where you're running the scales like that. There's a device that some guys selling that some singers swear by. I've
I
never
also
tried
have, let
it
me see, I
personally.
have this oil or it's like a tincture, excuse me, that somebody gave me, and I feel like this would be a great place to show it. Hold on.
I think I've seen someone use that straw technique, but they're doing it, ghetto style. It's just a fucking straw and a glass of
And
water,
a cup of
right?
water, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine that probably works too.
Okay, so someone gave me this. It's called Voice 37. It's
Wow.
got like a bunch of different herbs and stuff in it. And it's what it talks about is it's a fast acting formula that will wow you before you wow them. It supports vocal cords, helping keeping clear nasal passages and increasing clarity and becoming a well-oiled machine. And it talks about hitting higher notes more easily, singing stronger for longer, supports and soothes the voice, specifically designed for vocalists. And it says backstage concerns, front stage results. And so
That's a lot of marketing copy right there.
yeah. So that's what it looks like.
Okay.
But I was given this, and the stuff that's in it, where is it?
You put drops of it on your tongue? I'm sorry?
Yeah, so you do so it says take 1 dropper full of this, and you can do it to 1 to 2 times a day. You have to have increase in water because you'll get dehydrated, but it does have slippery elm, fennel seed, fresh horseradish, thyme, celery seed, and horehound herbs. So it's like a bunch of different stuff that's really good for the voice. So somebody actually gave that to me, and so
that's an awesome
Voice
salad
37.
dressing.
Yes.
That's a good salad
yes,
dressing.
so it actually works though, which is the best part. It's not just marketing weirdness in a bottle.
Throat coat has slippery elm in it. And do you guys have an issue with slippery elm? Because I seem to be a little ninny about slippery elm. Makes my throat kind of feel numb or something, and I don't react well to that. So I do.
That could be an allergic reaction, definitely.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And I have and green tea. This is TMI, but green tea upsets my stomach, whether I've got a full stomach or not.
You might try marshmallow root. It's also it's what we used to make marshmallows out of. The marshmallow root, if you can get it, you basically rinse it off once and then you put it in like either cold water, I guess is best for it, but hot water, it basically produces this kind of like film on top of it, which is the medicine that comes out of it. And then when you drink it, it like basically just coats your throat so beautifully, but it just literally tastes like you're drinking liquid marshmallows.
That sounds fun. I think it's the sensation of the numbing and the coating that I'm reacting to, actually.
Yeah, I mean, some people have allergic reactions to that, so.
Yeah, I think it doesn't feel good. So I don't, when people go, here, I got you some stuff, and it's a nice little basket, and it's got some, stuff for singing, throat lozenges, and a bunch of tea, and there's a bunch of throat coat. I'm like, thanks, because I don't.
Bye.
But they don't know. But they don't know that I can't. Oh, throat coat. This is for singers. Jason will love this. I can't do it. But
I was actually a chime in. I also have been a singer, and so I would just do a cup of tea, and I never on your guys' level. I'm never as busy as you guys by any means. But I mean, so a cup of tea. That was the first thing I thought of, Jason, when you asked. Like, is that not really enough for? I mean, it's a question for all three of you. Is that not really enough to cover?
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you have to like do everything in your tool basket to get your voice back.
Yeah, it's not there's no quick fix.
Sure.
Oh, just drink some tea and have a throat lozenge and you're good to go. It's not really that. Rest and hydration is really the only thing that is going to get you tip top. And time is, usually not there for you to do either of. I mean, you can drink water on stage. You can drink water. You can set your timer and drink a gallon of water every 5 minutes. My point is, she's driving. You know, you got to drive. There's no time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of kamikaze shit is going on with singers on different levels. You know, and I just turned 60, and I really and I'm not religious whatsoever, but I am praying to the lucky ones that gave me the ability to be able to, you know, stay tuned to natural tuning and still go, you know, go wherever I want to go. And in order to do that, all of these things that you guys are talking about still interest me because, you know, I don't take any of it for granted. You know, and there's guys that don't warm up, like Dio never warmed up, and I don't think Rob Halford warms up. You know, they just say fuck it and go out and do the, you know, first 3 songs. That's their warm up. You know, I don't even know if they sound check. You know, they're on the golf course or whatever. That's their sound check. A round of golf is their sound check. You know,
Sound check is their sound check.
right. So you know, I don't know. I mean, I've hung out with Todd LaTorre, the Queensryche singer, quite a bit, and we've totally had nerd sessions that have lasted hours talking about all of this stuff. And obviously I enjoyed it because I'm enjoying this way too much, and I apologize if I'm nerding out too much. But
This is great. It's great.
Todd is one of us, and he will nerd out on all of this shit with us. I know he would. And what do you do to warm up? A coffee and a smoke. That's his answer. He drinks a coffee and smokes a cigarette. And it's pH balance. It's what you're used to. I love the legendary story about Ted Templeman going in to record David Lee Roth's vocals on the first Van Halen. Have y'all heard this one?
I don't think so.
Maybe not. Dave had gone his version of sober and stopped smoking, and, you know, hey Ted, I'm in the studio. It's the first Van Halen. Woo! I'm ready to go. It's going to be awesome. And, you know, Dave's singing in the mic and it's going good. And Ted stops the tape and he notices something wrong. And he's like, Dave, come in here for a second. Yeah, man, what's up? And he goes, doing anything different? Yeah, man, I've been working out. I quit drinking. I quit smoking. He's like, okay, well, we're going to take the rest of the week off, and I want you to get a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I want you to get a carton of cigarettes and go sit on the beach all week long and be David Lee Roth. Be what you were in the clubs 6 months ago or whatever, and come back and see, and then we'll record your vocals. And I think it's a true story, and it's just the conditioning thing. You know, Jeff Tate smokes like a chimney, and I think that it's conditioning. I seriously do. I think Dio would have a pint.
Yeah, he drank wine every day.
Yeah, and start the show. He would just go walk on the stage and start fucking singing. So it's that whatever your kung fu is, it's not going to be my kung fu, right? And I'm amazed at that there's just not one way for each of us to get through the day. And tomorrow might be different. We may have to be put on a different color of shoes to be able to get it going, right?
But all three of you, I hear you're all conscious of this topic right here, because, you know, I'm not going to name names, of course, but we've all seen it. We've all seen those guys who there's older statesmen who can't do it anymore, and it breaks my heart. I can think of, again, times I've seen them and I'm like, man, this sucks. I wish they sounded like they used to. Like I said, not naming names, but the fact that you're all conscious of it, like, I think, like, that's that's a point in your favor, that you're still thinking about doing this. I know we've been talking a while. If you guys okay for a couple more minutes, like I got three more questions I want to ask. If you guys have time for this, you guys are good.
I got time.
Yeah, I'm down. I was under the impression I was supposed to be here at 5. I'm in Texas, so.
Oh my, yeah.
I'm in Central Time. That's all right. It happens all the time.
Yeah, apologies if it was a miscue. Yeah, I know.
No, I feel like I just got here. Let's go.
All right. Well, I also don't want to cut. If anybody wants to finish, like wrap up a thought on that, I don't want to cut anybody off. Anybody have any more thoughts on where the longevity thing and losing their voice, or you want to name names if somebody's lost it? Go ahead. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
I have a question. Hold. I want you to get your questions in, and I don't want to take up same what you just said. Same. When you guys, and I apologize, I'm unfamiliar with you guys' style and work. I'm only going by what Jack said, right? So the long, high top notes. I feel like the older I get, and this might be something that I could talk to doctors about. I feel like my lung power, the older I get, is diminishing a little bit. And I notice it when I'm recording. Sometimes live, I have more power, and I can hold that note, whatever it is, longer than I can when I'm in the studio. And I don't know if it's adrenaline, like a natural thing, or what. Have you guys ever noticed anything like that? And what have you done to sort of like balance that out to where, it's consistent all the time?
For me, it's like, it's not a problem with getting the highs. It's pretty consistent studio and stage for me. For me, the big challenge I have is on the stage, I could do like the raspy screams and the growls and things like that pretty consistently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Holding
sorry
that in the studio.
It's how long you can hold it. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear.
No. I don't have an issue with there. My big issue between like studio and stage is I can't do growls and stuff like that in the studio. Like I think it's that adrenaline thing that you're talking about. On stage, there's this energy and I can scream and sound like it's the edge of breaking point, but like really high, kind of like Halford does.
Yeah, you need to get your audience. You need to get your audience to come in the studio.
Yeah, that might be it, a live recording.
I think it could be something to do with the way the room sounds. Honestly, sometimes when you go from a live environment, it's kind of cathedral sounding, and then when you go into the studio, it's kind of like dead air kind of sounding. So that could be a mind trick, I think.
Wow.
I think as far as the longevity of notes goes, if I am sick, I don't have lung capacity. But if I do, which is like breath work meditation, which is just purposely doing rounds of holding your breath for a certain amount of time and releasing it for a certain amount of time, that seems to improve it for me. But definitely if you're nervous, if your anxiety is triggered, if you're emotionally distraught in any kind of way, if you're dealing with something, you can have like a defeatism, which sometimes doesn't let us get all the way. It's like I basically talk with people every single day about different things, but I think one of my favorite analogies that I've been able to come up with is snarky bitch syndrome. Is you have yourself, and then you have your inner voice, and if your inner voice isn't your cheerleader, you automatically kind of just cut yourself off unnaturally. And if you were to almost tell yourself, no, I can hit that note, blam, and you do. But I do think it could sometimes be a mind trick as the sound of the room.
Yeah, I do know that if I'm confident that I'll hit a note, more than likely I will. So it's kind of like just allowing yourself to feel that you can.
Yeah.
For sure. Because there are times where I'm like holding a note and I'm like, oh no, you start having a conversation in your head, like, oh, I don't know if I can hold it out as long. And that's it. It's like, it's over. You start slipping. And that's like with anything in life, right? Like if you feel like you can do it, you have that confidence, more than likely you'll be able to do it. If you can kind of envision yourself doing it, when you start doubting, that's it. You just it's the end of that, and you have
sometimes
to
I'll run out, and this is like true confessions here. I love it. I'm like, and I don't care. I'll tell you, and this is a total cheater. This is a cheat thing. Like, it'll be the final big finale of a song, and you're super high. You know, it's like Aretha Franklin, "Don't Give Up." Well, I'm not gonna give up. You know, and she'll just hold that motherfucker out, and like it'll just be like glorious, right? And so I'm up there trying to be Aretha, and I feel it choking, and I'm running out of air. I'm running out of air, and I'll pull the mic away, and like look like I'm still singing the note, you know. And
natural fade.
And I'll take a no, but I'll take a breath through my nose, and then I'll keep my mouth open though, and I'll come back with the same note and make it go, and no one notices, especially if I have a long delay.
Well, and even sometimes if you have to cut yourself off, but you make the ending even more amazing, people are just like, you know, it's like a score for football. You know, it's like, it's like at first I thought they weren't gonna, but then they.
Yeah, I don't feel terrible about myself when I've done those types of things, but it does happen, and
it's a part of that showmanship though. You're putting on a show, and it's a part of the show. It's like, you know, you're giving them what they want. They want to hear that note. If you have to do that, you're doing it. But it's dramatic. It's a dramatic stage too.
Yeah, but it's the cartoony part is I still hold the face I was making while the note was coming out, and I'll back off and like I'm taking a breath, and then I come back in and it's the same note.
See, that's me, but I'm accidentally burping. So.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but like
I love it. Yeah.
My producer Jim Morris can tell you, I am the most bubbly person he's ever met in his entire life, and I burp so much in the studio. And when I'm on stage, I am also like, this like ripping big ass ones, and I'm just like pretending like I'm doing something like this, and I'm just like burping the whole time.
It's the worst when you're like mid burp and it's like in that word's coming out. You're like, there's a burp.
I think we should just full commit, and then afterwards just say you're welcome.
Make it part of the song, and the next album, like, got to put in the burping parts. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, these are the things that, I think you said we're superheroes.
Yeah.
Well, we're burping and farting on the stage, just like you are down in the pit.
It's just happening.
It's the same. It's happening, and you don't know it because in your mind you've maybe built this up to be this romance thing that's going on in the room, and it is. It totally is. If there's a band and there's fans, and the band and the fans are creating this, glow, and everything is just so wonderful and glorious, you're still burping and farting. Barping. Yeah.
Barping.
Yeah.
I got to throw in a quick anecdote, and actually I'm delaying my own questions, but I mean, and so let's do a little bit of build up because I don't want to put myself in trouble here. I love Pat Benatar. Amazing singer. She is fantastic. I will fight the person who has a problem with Pat Benatar.
One of the best ever.
Yeah.
Ann Wilson, Pat Benatar. I love Darby Mills from the Headpins from Canada. Power singers, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right, and that's a good point. So Pat Benatar, if you're or Neil, if you guys are watching, I love you. But I saw Pat on a rough night, and in Hell's for Children, I could hear she was having a rough night because again, as a sort of singer, I was like, she's having a rough night, and she stopped the song, like the big screamy outro to Hell's for Children. She just was like, nope, can't do it. And Neil looked over like, well, what's going on? And I felt like, again, she's a super professional. I'm not calling her out, but that was maybe not the right decision in that moment. That was like what you guys were just talking about. Like, it's show business. Like, if she had just been pulled out the microphone, all right, you guys sing this part. Like, that would have been, she could have fooled us all and gotten us to the end.
If she was
but sometimes when you get that defeatism and you're just like hating how you sound, like you just like sometimes you just can't like. I mean, I can attest to when I was on this past tour, like I was thankful it was like one of the least attended shows because I was just kind of like, when you get so upset with yourself, it really does impact your stage presence and everything to do with that. And it was just kind of like, she probably was hating it so much. She was just like, enough. I don't want to, no more.
Yeah.
But I understand if you're in the audience and you're like so in love.
Waiting.
Yeah, you're in love, and it's the moment, and then it doesn't happen.
Yep.
That's a dark moment. That's kind of what we're doing here talking today, isn't it? That's kind of why we're here talking about this shit.
And then the flip side to that is because of that, and because of the, the mental health, all the negative impacts that, filming that one bad performance and seeing yourself and getting all those comments of hate, there are a ton of vocalists out there that I know can sing, but live they sing to backing tracks. And as much as I hate that, I don't do it, but there's a lot of folks that do it, and one of the big reasons why they do it is consistency. And I'm like, it's not
But
rock
is
and
it
roll
though?
anymore. Yeah. But I mean, one of the reasons why I think that's being triggered more now than ever before is people are scared to see what pops up on YouTube. So they just want to know that they're gonna sing consistently night after night, even though they're not singing. And there's a lot of bands out there, some of our favorite bands, I'm sure, where that's happening. That there's that kind of lie of a singer singing when they're not, or like even like when you get to extreme metal where the kick drums aren't actually being played, it's just a track. It's just it's weird. And now we're getting to this phase where you're watching a show, you're like, how much of it is real?
That's not very metal.
No, not at all, right?
No, it's very AI of them.
For the
example,
blast beats to be on tape, that's not metal.
Yeah, the kick drums. The blast beats they're probably doing, but it's the intricate kick drum patterns.
But
the blown in. Yeah, all that's getting blown in.
Yeah, that's not metal.
It's just like, man, this is insane. It's just like,
that's Disney. That's not metal. That's Disney.
It's not even rock and roll.
No, it's not. It's not. I would rather see fail.
Yeah.
I'd rather see humans fail than tape machines break.
What was it? The Iron Maiden album that came out like in, I think it was 2017 or 2018. I can't remember what year it was, but he did not do any auto tune on his voice, and people were ripping him to shreds. And he was just kind of like, no, that's what my natural voice sounds like without any editing. Like, and I think sometimes as singers, we feel this immense need to be perfect and hit everything like immaculate. And that's probably why a lot of people will use tracks, because if they feel like they're not being perfect, they let the other voice come through. But it's just kind of like, for him, they dogged the ever living crap out of that man for singing Raw Dog, just like, this is what I sound like. And it's like, people can't even appreciate someone's organic, natural voice anymore. So it's like, when you go to the show, as a person, you're basically expected, like in corporate, they rate you like a computer. You have to be immaculate. And it's the same thing with being a singer. You have to show up, you have to look great, you have to sing great, you have to make sure you have time and energy for fans before and after, and it's just like they expect different things of you. And it's like, depending on your mental capacity in the department and things that you're experiencing, it's just, it's not realistic to ask of somebody.
Make me want to show up, make me want to do this, because the shit we're talking about makes me want to quit. You know what I mean? But we're not quitting, obviously. I mean, I've been doing this since I was a child, and I'm not making a lot of money. I'm not, why are we still doing it?
Because we love it.
Yes, it's a romance, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I could be in an island with just me and a little studio and nobody else to hear, and I would be writing songs for myself.
Because you have to, yeah.
It's this inherent like nature in me to have to, write lyrics and just put out something into the world. Otherwise,
do you feel like it's a way you would rather communicate than speak?
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And I would, like, just speaking of how we're kind of more introverted than we are extroverted. Yeah. That's the way I kind of communicate or even process feelings. Like that's my therapy, really. It's just, and it's far cheaper than paying, $300 an hour to see a therapist. For me, I get to like process all my emotions, write it down, and just kind of exercise.
For you guys to write a song to let the world know how you feel, I don't understand. And of course, everybody has their own process, and this happens to be ours. But their process, I wouldn't know how to do it. I would have to interview them and talk to them and see how they would be able to stand up and express themselves. When this is the way that we do it, it's like, it's almost like, I feel like the outside people would think that I'm trying to say, oh, you have to have all kind of fanfare just to, you have to have a song and instrumentation and all of this drama in order to tell me how you feel. That's how I feel like they would be, kind of telling this. And I think, like, if you read Shakespeare, he's just one man, but he's writing stories to let you know how his insides, what he's really feeling and saying. He's writing these stories, and I feel like it's similar. I
mean, they're the soundtracks of our lives,
Yeah.
and it's like it's how to capture the feeling of the moment that we were in. So it's like sometimes people don't understand if you were to sit there and try to talk to them, but if you played them a song that invoked a feeling, they would immediately understand. I think music is like the universal language that no matter what language you physically speak, everybody understands when a certain song comes in, what it's compelling out of you.
Yeah, and as an artist, like these are snapshots in these particular moments in time where you felt a certain way that compelled you to, type something out, right? Write something out. And when you, like, I know for me, like if I, revisit a song like from our first record, I know exactly what I felt when I was writing those lyrics. It's kind of like, wow. Or it could be cringy or like, wow, I can't believe I.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, right? Like,
Yeah.
how did I allow that to happen? Or how did I allow myself to feel like that to get to the point where I'm writing about it? Like, but that's what you have to do. And that's the honesty of art, I think.
Yeah. Do you feel like if you didn't write the song and you're the singer on the song, you didn't write the lyrics, but you're singing the song. Do you feel like you're still emoting? Do you feel like you're still expressing yourself? Because I want to say that you are expressing yourself. Even though you didn't write the song, I feel like that's can be misconstrued by someone on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I
hearing us talk like this, they might be like, you didn't even write, you're singing Little Red Corvette by by Prince, and you didn't, that's a cover song, but you're singing it into their soul, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, you take little bits of lyric and you make it your own, you internalize it, your own, interpretation of it might be completely different than Prince, right? But it affects you.
That's fine.
Yeah. As long as it touches you, as long as you can emote what you're feeling through those lyrics. And, we're far more similar than we are different, right? So these kinds of emotions that get resurrected from us every day on the day-to-day, it's the same across the board. No matter where you are in the world, you're feeling these things of sadness and loss and love and all that kind of stuff. And that's generally the human condition, right? We want to exercise that kind of stuff and relate to other people. And that's kind of what we do. Through the dawn of time, that's art, right? People see it, hear it, and reflect and, just kind of resonate with it.
I feel like the most popular music out there, whatever, pop music, whatever, unless you're Lady Gaga, she writes all her shit. But pop music, it's like, well, they didn't even write the song or the lyrics, but it's, little Jack and Jill's favorite song.
Yeah.
And it can be the greatest song in the world, right? And legions will cry when the song comes on, or they're in concert and they're having this outer body experience with this pop song that somebody who's famous for the song doesn't even know. A stranger wrote this song, but because they've made it their own, because it's their you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It could even come off more genuine than the original artist.
Correct.
How they interpret.
Correct. Respect. Yeah, Aretha's Respect, or some of the Joe Cocker songs he did.
That's right. That's right. A lot of Stax stuff were written by staff writers and Motown, all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love what you guys are saying. It's so true. But this is why we're compelled to create, because right, you're right. We kind of have to. It's like, you know, I wrote this because it needed to come out. Even the original writers, even sometimes people are cynically like, oh, I'm just punching a paycheck and I'm creating pop songs for, it still elevates into something else. That's some beautiful thing about this art form. And the way people sing it can turn it into something that'll bring a tear to your eye. And you're right. Sometimes people are like, this song means the world to me, and they'll play it for me. I'm like, yeah, it's nice, cool. It doesn't connect to me, but that's a beautiful thing about this art form.
Well, and to kind of just underline what you said, just for my guilty pleasure. When I think about Dylan and Cash and, you know, Willie Nelson and Roy Orbison and, you know, all of those kind of guys, that's all they did. They woke up and coffee and smoked a joint, and they just wrote songs all for each other. And the songs were transcendent and emotionally charged because all of the stories were true. So when, hey man, I wrote you a song, check it out, and they press play, and the guy's like, here's the lyrics, and he's like, holy shit, you're nailing the, you know what I mean? Like, I know your life story. I wrote this song about for you and your wife and your kids, and ran over the dog, and it's all in there, you know, whatever it is, right? And this shit becomes transcendent. It's levitation. And these guys are not known for how, you know, rubber bandy their range is or anything. You know, it's all about emotion, and it's all about pressing buttons, and it's all about the lyric too. You know, I feel like I do a lot of emotional singing when I don't even care what the lyric is. So that's the other side of what I'm talking about. My lyrics, I have this love-hate relationship. If I wrote the lyric, sometimes I'll feel like the lyrics are not that great, but my emotional value that I'm trying to like fish for inside of your soul and pull it out of you, the emotional response that I'm really looking for, the bait is how I'm singing this not so great lyric. You guys feel, I'm not saying that I'm asking you to admit that you think your lyrics suck. You can always change them until you can't, right?
Well, there's
you guys, that happens sometimes to you?
Like primal scream therapy, right? It's like the therapy is the scream and the shouting of it. So it's like, that's half the battle right there. Right. You know, like there are times where I feel emotionally like just crazily connected to a song because of the way it's sung. And then I go back and read the lyrics and I'm like, wow, those are really bad. And I cannot connect with the lyrics at all.
That's all I mean. Yeah, you're nailing it. Yeah.
Is what captivated me. Like the way he says, I want a car. I'm like, wow, I want a car isn't really that deep. But man, the way this guy sings that, it makes me want to have a car too, you know?
Then you're like wondering, like, what's wrong with his car and what is his issue with cars? Does he have like the worst car ever? Like,
want a Lamborghini instead of a Ferrari. I can't relate to that, but damn, somehow I can. You know,
it's the metaphor. It's why Sammy can't get to LA and he can't drive 50. Anyway, go on.
Oh, you can go down that rabbit hole. What is the car actually? Is it really a car?
Yeah, it may not be a car at all.
Yeah.
Maybe he was tired of fixing the damn car and he just wanted one that just, you know, like my favorite make and model is the one that works.
So, and it just goes to show you don't have to think that much about the lyrics, right? Someone can take whatever you want about a car and make into this big metaphor about life.
Yeah. But then, you know, it's like for me, I normally like, so I'm a tarot psychic astrologer as my other job. So a lot of times I spend a lot of times researching the meanings of things, right? So then I do these like elaborate, you know, just like readings, and you know, sometimes like I'm journaling and different things like that. So it's like a lot of times I'm like, that's really probably too deep. You know, it's like maybe I should like fluff that up a little bit. Like when you like, so it's like you either have one of the things is like the lyrics don't matter, or they matter so much that like someone just like feels everything with you, you know. So it's both.
Wow. Yeah, go. I don't know if I've ever, well, I better watch it. I was gonna say, I don't know if I've ever gone too far with the lyric and, you know, personally, like really exposure and, you know, opening the vein kind of thing, but I feel like I have. And then, you know, to do it in a way where
it's not so obvious.
Yeah, like it's not really about what someone else is going to think it's about. Like Sammy can't drive 55 because he's got 4 flat tires. Something as dumb as that, you know. So, but you don't know why he can't drive 55, and I'm gonna go, hey, you got some flat tires there, Sam.
He's got a governor. He can only go 45.
Right.
Or he's stuck in traffic, or well, all right. So, I mean, I am gonna ask. I already cut out one of my last 3 questions because you know we'll be here until midnight, which is great. Like, you guys got to come back. You guys, this is an amazing conversation. You guys are all 3 of you are brilliant, and you guys brilliant musicians too. Everyone should be listening to these 3 bands. Or these 3 guys, these 3 people in their careers. But anyway, let me get into the slam question. Is can you guys? I mean, I don't. Whoever wants to start, I'd say each of the 3 of you. Can you kind of give people some just general advice, people who, you know, who are maybe in a bad spot, who are feeling like, yeah, there's not much reason to keep going. Like, what is your general advice? Not even as a singer, although we've touched on that already, but like just as a musician, as a human being, like what are some encouragement to kind of keep going?
I mean, I would say if you can find someone that you can resonate with and connect with to even just have a conversation, that will go far. Because a lot of times people just need acceptance. They need someone to feel like they can open to. I mean, we are social creatures, right? We're not meant to just live in, you know, I know COVID, we got practice of just kind of living on our own in our little rooms and whatnot, but that caused all kinds of chaos, even like with high school kids now.
I call COVID the rise of the introvert.
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning of COVID, I loved it. I was like, this is great. You know, but then as time went on, it definitely affected me. And, you know, I've got friends that are, you know, playing in bands that are just extremely extroverted, and they suffered immensely.
Yeah, it was suicide rate was up
yeah.
for musicians.
And I think if you can just connect with folks, that goes a long way. If that's seeing a therapist because you don't have anybody close, I would highly recommend that, you know, just to be able to let whatever you're feeling out, so someone on the other side can lend an ear and just kind of talk through, not even give advice, but just kind of listen and hear what you're going through. And then naturally that can lead to, you know, solutions, or just kind of, you know, that might solve some of the issues just by having that person there to be on the receiving end to kind of get all the stuff that you're feeling. Because when you're keeping it to yourself, it's like a time bomb. And sometimes, you know, like if you've got a gun with no intention that you were going to ever use it, you can have that one day. That's all it takes for you to pick up that thing. And any other day you would never use it. But, you know, that's all it took, is that one day of sadness and depression or whatever, that person that you didn't have to talk to. I'm just reach out to somebody is what I would say. Especially, you know, like if you're not a musician and you don't have music and art to exercise any of the stuff that you're feeling, it's really important to reach out. And that's how I reach out, is through music and writing. But some folks don't have that, and, you know, that gets translated through other means.
I touched on that earlier. It's like some people don't have the same way to speak that we do.
Yeah.
They don't have the outlet. So they're in a lot of, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people go to the bar and that's their therapy, but that's their medicine, and it's not. It's a road. it's a road down. It's not a road out, right?
Yeah, it's just
And
cover.
yeah, that's right. And the road out is important. And it can be dangerous by way of if you are introverted and you find yourself in a dark place, but because you're an intro, hi kitty cat. If you are, in that, there's a door and you're looking at the door and you're thinking about opening it. I always say, I feel blessed because I don't have that door to go through. You know what I mean? That door would be a metaphor for the gun, right?
Yeah, that just pops
I don't
up.
have that door in my head. I just don't have it. And I have a lot of friends who have gone through the door, and it's not good. The only thing really that, other than, the reaching out to another human being, because there's always someone that wants to help you. You can't say, I couldn't get any help. No, come on, man. There's always someone that wants to help you, and you kind of have to, it's unfortunate, but the truth is you have to want help, and you have to know that it's okay to ask for it.
Yeah. And I think it's important to find that person before you're in that state. Because when you're in that state, it's hard to reach out. But if you, find that trustworthy person beforehand, so like this person is there just in case I, go through that bump.
The just in case is, you pack a go bag, right? And then, but I feel like, making sure that people know that there's always a chance that someone's there ready to talk to you right outside. You just got to go outside. I think music sort of saved me. Not that, like I said, I don't have that door, but there was no plan B, right? So it's the only way that I know or want to go outside is because I have that. I'm going to a gig. I'm going to write a song, even though I don't go outside to write a song. You know what I mean? I'm going outside and I'm going to do something about this feeling I'm having in that outlet, right? So the way, you're on an island by yourself, right? And you're making music and you're the only one that's going to hear it.
Yeah.
But you're outside.
The
metaphor is working for me here, right?
Yeah, yeah. You're kind of placing yourself outside yourself in that sense, right? And
and I think that it's hard for people, and like you said, I think that it's hard to do that, and you have to have a reason to want to do that, and unfortunately, that can be hard for sometimes. I feel like, Some Kind of Monster, Metallica, they were searching for a reason to be Metallica.
Yeah.
They were searching for a reason to stay in a band with each other. I could talk about Metallica for weeks, but I'll stop there. But I thought it was they were really brave to let the world come look at them like that.
Yeah.
And they were never the same after that either. And it's their version of going outside.
Speaking of that, I'm going to step away for 1 second. But you guys keep talking. I know this is super unprofessional for the host to do. But I got to step away for 1 second. My daughter needs something. But you guys, Sabrina's got good talk. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
You guys keep.
We're good. We'll just pretend you're still here. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In the profession that I do outside of the band, I deal with people every day who are dealing with the loss of somebody or issues with self-esteem issues, people who've made massive life choices that sometimes didn't work out in their favor, and it's just like I deal with a lot of trauma a lot, and one of the things that I pick up on all the time is that people don't reach out because it means that they failed. That's why they think they failed. And one of the things that I feel like helped me through a time of not understanding myself, because like for a lot of times, like situations happen with people and we don't really understand what went wrong or what we did wrong or something like that. And So one of the things that helped me was initially, before I got into doing this as a career, I actually just bought myself my own little personal tarot deck. And like people use tarot deck as like their own personal therapist because they're having a hard time reaching out for help. So a lot of times if, you know, you're dealing with an issue and trying to understand something, you know, you do a daily poll, and a lot of times they're very accurate, and it does give you a like, and I feel like probably the biggest problem for me was, you know, we eat through our ears just as much as we do through our mouth. You know, our eyes digest all kinds of different things. And one of the things I became aware of is if you start to have only the same thoughts reoccurring over and over and over again, you need to add in new thoughts and new perspectives. And that's where, you know, the tarot helps, because you can think about a situation from a different perspective. And, you know, then you can reach out to people who have experienced certain things that are in line with you. And daily I have people come to me and just need somebody to talk to. So it's just, you know, if you don't have a friend, if you don't have a therapist, I personally would say, you know, if you feel like going to a psychic, or you feel like buying yourself a tarot deck, if you feel like discovering something that gives you something else to think about, and increasing the level of positivity in your life in general. Sometimes it is the circles that we surround ourselves, and that's one of the main issues, is that, you know, trying to fit into a dynamic with people that you don't fit in with. You know, your circle breeds your environment, and if it's not conducive, if it's not supportive, if it's not a healthy environment, you can find yourself growing in a toxic soup of other people's experience and becoming a product of that. And then when something goes wrong in those circles, you have a hard time admitting that you're struggling. And so a lot of times religion will get in the way of reaching out for help. Embarrassment, pride, shame, all those words come out when it's like reaching for help. And I feel like it doesn't matter where you go for help, as long as you realize that you need it and you reach outside of something that's already causing you to feel a certain way. Because sometimes if you're in a toxic soup bubble with people who don't support you and don't hear you, if you try to reach out for them, they can sometimes exacerbate the issue that you're already struggling with, because now not only did you open to somebody in a raw, meaningful way, but now people know a weakness about you. You know what I mean? Like, there are circles that are not good for you to be open in there, you know. So sometimes we go through things which brings us to a call of awareness of this is not my tribe, this is not my vibe, I need to get away from this. And that's where you have to ask yourself, am I falling into the drugs and alcohol because I'm settling in this area? Am I falling into a pattern of believing that I can't get out of something because of the area that I'm in? And sometimes for me, even though COVID did suck on, you know, losing friends and having the discord with the family and all that kind of stuff like that, I kind of needed it. I kind of needed to be pulled away from people for a while to observe myself and to hear my own thought patterns and to realize, like, do I really even believe those things? Do I even really identify with that kind of stuff? And so I felt like, even though it sucked at first, personally, it caused me to go into the line that I'm doing now, which I feel you never really fully healed, you never really recover from something, but you're aware of it, and that's the gold. Being aware of it and being able to navigate your triggers, your trauma, finding people who care about you, different things like that. And just safety is the biggest thing that I've noticed for people. They have to feel safe to reach out, and definitely through something like this, it gives people a safety net to fall into.
Yeah, and I think on the flip side, it's like all of us, we just have to ask ourselves, because we might be that person they're reaching out to. So we just have to be more cognizant of, you know, people's feelings and emotions, and just have that compassion to give ourselves back to the folks that are trying to give themselves to us, right? So it's even just stepping outside of the individual that's going through that mental health crisis, but it's like, you know, we have to, you know, rise up to kind of be that person for these people too, and recognize it when they don't come up to us. Like sometimes there are signs, that, if you're seeing these people on a day-to-day basis, there's certain things that you're like, something's not right. Let me go out of my way and try to reach out if they're not reaching out, right? Worst case scenario, they're fine. No harm done, right? But chance you might be able to save a life that way.
I think
but them knowing that you cared enough to think of them.
Yeah, it can be the hope. Can give them the light, right? Just the fact that you stuck your head in there and went, "Hey, man, let's hang out. Let's talk about it."
You're doing all right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I feel like my brother has cancer. He was given 3 years to live, and he's past his 4-year mark now. But the cancer's recently come back, so he started the hardcore chemo again. Anyway, his wife brings home the bacon. He's stay-home daddy, and he's the most badass stay-home daddy there is. He's a surfer, he's a skateboarder, he sings in a hardcore punk rock band. He's the most badass dude. He has more friends than I've ever had. His support team is the greatest. I envy him. Did I mention he's got cancer?
Yeah.
You see, it's the perspective can be daunting about the differences that we're talking about. Someone who's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Or
just like what we were talking about. Yeah. If you feel like you can do something, you could do it. Like if you give yourself that positive reinforcement, regardless of what's happening, it'll definitely take you farther.
Yeah. The story I'm telling is completely fucked up and sad and concerning, of course. But my nephews are like 9 and 10, and they have the most badass, hardcore, skateboarding, punk rock motherfucker for a dad. Then they have fun all day, and all their friends' parents are jealous. It's the greatest thing, but I'm hurt because he's my baby brother.
Yeah.
And his life is better than mine. You see what I'm saying? But it's not, but it is. He has these things that I don't have that make him this and I'm like, wow, it's so bad. Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, but his light is fleeting,
You're fighting. Yeah, he's just fighting. But his reason for fighting is all around him constantly. And the people that we might be, not to create a pawn, right? But the people that we might be talking about, whether it's one person or thousands, they might not even have anybody like my brother has. They may not have the things that someone who's really hurt, who's gets up every day and kicks ass, but they're still fucked,
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't even have the light that you get it. So it's the perspective thing. And I know that he wouldn't mind me telling his story a little bit, because he's just a fucking king. And it's hurt me, but I'm one of the team I'm on, I'm here for him. I'll die for him. And he's got hundreds that will die for him. And some people just don't have that. And that can be another hurdle for those people when they just don't have the outside, right? So you got to go outside, man.
Yeah, and all my best, man, to you and your whole family, because this is hard. This is a fucked up thing that is nobody's fault. This has happened, all my best, and that's inspirational though in a way, that he's still that kick-ass of a dad, and even while he's dealing with that, like it's I would hope none of us are ever in that situation, but people are every day.
Well,
So
you wouldn't even know. That's another thing too. You're hanging out with him, you wouldn't even know. Me and a bunch of fellows had breakfast yesterday morning. He's right there, first one there, ready to go. Migas.
Yeah. My hat is off to him, for being that way and being that way for his kids. I mean, and for everyone around him. That's inspirational. So
it's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful. Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know, man. I like I said, I think we could say just clear your calendars. We're just going to do this for 7 more hours, but I think I should let everybody get back to their lives. But what a powerful talk this has been. You guys all three of you are fantastic. So what I want to say, I mean, don't let me stifle you if you have more to say, but I do want to take us out with you guys promoting. Well, since people may not know your stuff, promote the stuff that's coming up, and maybe say, hey, these are some great things I've done in my career that you should check out. So I'll again, whoever wants to start. But again, if I cut you off, Jason, or anybody, please finish your thought from prior, please.
You can cut me off because I talk too much.
I don't know. I didn't want to hear from Sabrina's cat too.
He was out there screaming, me.
Yeah. That's what this one's doing too. Anyway.
Yeah, it's time to eat. That's why.
So yeah, anybody wants to start? Yeah, take us out with talk to us about stuff that you have coming up this year. Any projects, anything exciting? And as I said, please recommend. I mean, I can say some stuff from your guys' career, but I want to hear from you guys. Tell people like, hey, this isn't one of my older songs or
can
projects
you
or things.
Ask us about it so we don't feel like we're like shooting our own guns off in the room here?
Come on, you guys are lead singers. You're full of these big egos. That's what you do.
We're full of shit. Yeah,
you're full of shit. All right,
I can start. So like right before I got on, I was actually writing lyrics and music for material that'll be on our 5th album. So that's something that we're working on. All of the music at this point, I think, have been completed. And so right now, today is like day 1 where I'm starting to write the lyrics, and that's why I'm late. That's why I was late. I didn't get the little pop-up saying, hey, you've got an interview thing at 5. So hopefully we're going to be in the studio later this summer to start recording the 5th album. We're going to be doing a show with Queensryche in a few weeks.
Awesome.
So looking forward to that. You're talking about Todd LaTorre. It's funny.
Yeah.
One of my things that I do before every show is I warm up to Queensryche. So I know
a hell of a warm up.
Oh yeah. So I figured once I get those notes, everything else will be fine. So that's generally my vocal warm up before any shows. I'll go through the scales and stuff like that. But then
coffee and a smoke.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't smoke or drink, so that I don't have that to have to affect me. But Todd LaTorre smokes, and he still gets those ridiculous notes every night. So,
he's amazing. I'm such a fanboy of his.
He is incredible. He's truly incredible and a good guy.
Right guy, I'll tell you that.
He's a great guy. He's strong, man. He's kind of one of a kind, really.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting him. He should be pretty cool. But yeah, that's what we've got on our docket. And hopefully we release a new record early next year and take it from there.
Well, you're right, Jason. Let me say, like, I think one of my favorite prog songs, maybe of all time. Sorry to embarrass you there, Farhad, but is "Dream of the Sleeper," like off the first Shumaun album. It's just an epic, just masterpiece. But if you're, also check out some of the covers that Farhad has done. The Pink Floyd one you just did. Holy crap! One of my favorite songs. Again, one of my favorite. One of the Pink Floyd cover you just did was incredible.
Yeah, that was. Gosh, it was Division Bell, the last song on there.
Yes, the last song on the Division Bell. Yeah, it's really, fantastic stuff. Yeah, so check out
again
YouTube covers, great stuff.
That all happened because of COVID, because I didn't have anybody to do anything with, so I just like did a bunch of cover songs on my own, and reached out to friends to do that.
I think all of us guilty of that saw a lot of that with our peers.
Yeah.
lockdowns, everyone, I think that home studio equipment and podcast equipment sales went through the fucking roof during COVID. I started a podcast during COVID, and it's going strong. Interviewing my idols. It's awesome. I've had Todd LaTorre on 3 times.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, one time he was on 3 hours.
That's when you know you're doing a good job, because
that's some super
like
nerd.
like
It was just nerd out. I mean, we didn't even, we took, I think my co-host took a piss break, but it was, it was just incredible. And we vocalized and talked about, things that singers should probably talk about more. I can't do what you do. How do you do that? Well, I can't do what you do. How do you do that? Where are you when you do that? Where, and it's serious. Anyway, I can go. I just released 2 songs, and we called it an EP because it's not a single, but it's 2 songs. I feel like I'm cheating. And it's kind of cheesy butt rock all on purpose, because I love AC/DC and Kiss. So I write, that's one of my itches, right? And I have a band called Broken Teeth that's kind of in the same realm. It's a little bit more Back in Black turning into Screaming for Vengeance sometimes. It's a little bit 4 on the floor, but gets kind of hairy and teeth sometimes. But Broken Teeth hadn't put out a record since COVID, and it was a live album that we recorded at the end of 2019. Then everything went bang, and so we had everything on tape. So we released a live record. Hadn't done a studio record in a while, and this is something. There's a band from the 80s called Dirty Looks that's similar in that, and they had hits on MTV, and they would play back to back with my Dangerous Toys stuff. And me and the Toys guys were big fans of Dirty Looks, and in '94 we stole their guitar player. It's a whole story. Anyway, that's who's in this. He's still in Dangerous Toys, Paul Lydell, but he was in Dirty Looks, and we formed Broken Teeth, and then he left, and I've kept Broken Teeth going. The point that I'm making about my new EP, 2 songs, the EP's called We'll Be Right Back. The project is called Hot Shot. I know it's dumb. Hot Shot, and there's like a big old bomb on there, and it's got a timer on there, and it says we'll be right back. And the songs are fun. It's my friend Dave McLean, who was in Machine Head for 23 years, and he's been in Sacred Reich forever. He's on drums, and it's me and Paul, and the bass player from Dirty Looks, Jack, and my buddy David, who's also in Broken Teeth. And that just came out a couple days ago, so that's really like fresh bread. It's on all the platforms. And then Watchtower has 5 shows in September coming up. And we haven't played 5 shows in 1 month in 20 years or longer, because it's kind of legacy band kind of status anyway. But we did Hell's Heroes, and we did Keep It True and all that stuff, and then we're it's very spotted. But the interesting thing, and it's a cat that should not, no pun intended, should probably not be out of the bag, but we're talking about personal things here and reasons to still want to do this. And Watchtower I have a serious relationship with, because I kind of cut my teeth as a singer in Watchtower. We started in May of '82. That first record came out in '85. High Roller just put out this month our 40th year anniversary reissue of Energetic Disassembly, so that's out now. And that sort of is weird, because we just did all these gigs and about to do a bunch more. But what I was going to say is I've been working on new Watchtower material, which is, they haven't put out a record since 90. So
yeah,
it's kind of
89, right? I think that was the last.
89. Control and Resistance was 89. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. So yeah, there's that. And, yeah, I have a, well, and you know, Jack, I wrote a record with Jack Frost.
Yeah.
And I don't have a release date with that, but that's just good old fun, evil power metal. And it is in the vein of Sabotage, I think. It feels like that. I did an EP with, just over the past like 9 months, a year, with David Austin from Nasty Savage, and that's really proggy as well. But that's not finished yet. My parts are finished. I think he's calling it DNA because it's his initials. And then Jack Frost thing, it's basically Seven Witches, but he, for some reason, he doesn't want to call it Seven Witches, and I'm like, why don't you already have this thing going on? Why would you switch in the middle of what's going on? Yeah, anyway, it's his thing, whatever he wants. So I'm busy, and I'm happy because I'm busy. I've been an instructor, show director for School of Rock in Austin, Texas for 20 years.
That's awesome.
And I love it. Saving kids, saving rock and roll one kid at a time.
Love it.
I dig it.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, and I've not heard. Jack Frost has talked up the stuff he's doing with you. And actually, I wasn't sure if that was public, so I wasn't going to bring it up. But yeah, I haven't heard it, so I'm definitely looking forward to hearing. All of the above.
He should send it to you.
All right.
Tell him I said that.
Jack,
I'll send it to you.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. And yeah, and I'll just say again, not since I put you guys in the spot, I'll say I would, if someone said, well, where should I get started with this guy? I'd say, well, really, you haven't heard him? But then I would say, well, I would say get started the way I did. You know, I learned of your style and through Dangerous Toys, of course. Those iconic. By the way, congratulations on the induction in the Metal Hall of Fame. Like, much deserved.
Thank you. Came out of nowhere, but love it. Yeah.
But yeah, much deserved. I would say start, and of course Watchtower. I mean, those classic Watchtower. It's all great stuff. So that's where I would recommend if someone's looking where to get started with Jason McMaster. So
yeah, I like the weirdo metal.
Same here.
Yeah, right.
That was all right. Well, so Sabrina, you want to take us out, I guess, with tell us what you have coming up, and then like I said, I mean, feel free to drop stuff, but I can also recommend some great Seven Kingdoms songs that I personally love.
Well, how about you start with what you like, and then I'll go from there.
Well, honestly, if someone's like, well, tell me what to hear, I think you guys do an amazing cover of "I Hate Myself for Loving You." That's not what Seven Kingdoms is all about, in my opinion, but it's really fun. I think you guys are a fun and serious and epic power metal band, but there's also that side of you where you guys are all smiles and doing fun Joan Jett covers. But I think the song "The Valentcar" is beautiful. And "The Rats in the Walls," I mean, that was probably the song that made me a fan. So that's probably where I would say people will start with those three, but you won't. I guarantee you won't stop. If you listen to those three, you'll be like, all right, I got to keep going.
Yeah, a lot of people absolutely love the covers. We like to, be thankful to the fact that we are a Kickstarter band and we exist because people supported us on Kickstarter, because there was we have this weird situation with labels. So at some point we're just going to do it ourselves, and it ended up being better because people showed up for us that way. So one of the things that we would do on the albums is we would do an EP, then an album, then an EP, and an album. But every Kickstarter, we would have a perk that would say pick the cover. So we started out with, what was it? Barracuda. Then we did "I Hate Myself for Loving You." We did "Boys of Summer." And we just really released Curie, Mr. Mister's version, but we redid it.
Nice.
So we do that for the fans. And so the most recent EP that we have that has Curie on it is called The Square. So that's the most recent that we have. Valonqar is off of Zenith, and also Empty Eyes, because that was one of the songs that carried over. It got remastered. We just did a bunch of tours. We came back from Europe with Unleash the Archers and Striker, and then coming up for us, we're going on tour with Blind Guardian again, where it's our 15-year anniversary. Like when we were a little bitty, it didn't know what the hell we were doing band. Blind Guardian gave us our first opportunity to go on tour with them, and now we're going on again with them November and December this year with Insecurity. So that's going to be a huge tour for us, and I'm very grateful and thankful for that. And then in between that, we're just working on the new album, so we're going to be doing that. Camden's going to be doing tour managing for Wind Rose and Striker this year. He's going to be busy doing all kinds of stuff like that, and then we'll go out and do our tour. And basically right now, that's, you know, besides us working our day jobs and stuff like that, that's what we're doing.
Very
awesome. Well, yeah, again,
love when metal bands do covers that are like not metal at all. So like I'm very curious to hear the Mr. tune. That should be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that they like it better than the original, you know, but you know, that's, you know, the rule of thumb is do it just as good or better, or don't do it at all. You know, so there's no pressure with that, you know. So I think I was super scared to do Barracuda. And then I hate myself for loving you, and it's just like, so it's just like you want to pay homage to the original, you know, but then you also want to add a little bit of you and show people what you can do, and then add like the element of the music in which you're doing the cover in. So I was initially you know, a karaoke star. You know, I would go to the karaoke bars every Saturday and I'd sing every single song. I can't tell you how many times. There was this one lady named Patty at the karaoke bar who would ask me every single time to play or to sing Before He Cheats all the time. So like I can nail some Carrie Underwood too, you know? So I feel like it shows the dynamic of the band and all of your talents if you can, you know, play more than, you know, what they are used to hearing you hear or play, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, so I sing in a cover band called Screaming Monkeys, and we do just the whole thing from 70s to now. So like Lady Gaga to like Barracuda and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
I would have to say, out of all the covers we've done, I still like Boys of Summer the most.
We do that one as well.
Yeah.
And just I sent you guys all Facebook requests. So if you see some weirdo.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Yeah. Thanks for doing that, because I was gonna
always great to
want to share, you know.
Yeah.
I front an Elton John tribute band.
That's awesome.
How did I not know this? This is incredible.
I have been in love with Elton since the babysitter turned me on to this sounds like it could go south really fast. Turned me on to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. And you know, I was a little kid. I was little. She was babysitter across the street, and I became obsessed with Elton John, and specifically the album, which just celebrated an anniversary, I think 50 years or more. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy.
Yeah.
And I have that part of that album cover art, which is insanely psychotic looking, the album cover art for that. And I have some of the back part tattooed on my torso because I'm dumb. I thought it would be cool. But yeah, from my neck all the way down. Anyway, so I'm a big fan, and I've always wanted to do that. And I've had different versions of it, and we don't get to play very often because everybody in the project is just so busy, and I hate subbing. I hate to get, if you're in a cover band and you get subs, you know, it's just,
it comes across more like a casual, like get together.
It's terrible because you're just missing the other guy. You're resenting, like the guy that's the sub. You're just like, you know what I mean? That thing. And I hate that. So I just don't. So again, we just don't get to play very often, but we recorded some stuff, you know, I don't know, it's been probably 5 or 6 months ago now, and it's so, I feel so alive when I'm singing that old Elton stuff, because the songcraft is so good, and I'm known to be this metal guy. So when my peers and my friends come to see this Elton tribute, they think I'm gonna like do a heavy metal Elton John. They think I'm gonna take the piss out of it or something.
I'm still standing.
Yeah. Yeah, but even like death metal, or you know, they think I'm gonna like really take the piss at, you know. And then when I don't, they're just like, what the fuck is happening, right? You know, because I'm trying to really make it as authentic as possible. And I'm a terrible guitar player, but I play rhythm guitar and I sing, and I have like a 6-piece band with 2 keyboard players, and it's like the funnest thing I've ever done. But I'm also play bass in an AC/DC tribute. I had a Metallica tribute for a long time, and my Judas Priest tribute that I front's playing this Saturday. So I'm and that only plays maybe once or twice a year. So I'm what I call busy enough. I don't really tour anymore, but I wanted to let you guys know about the Elton thing, because it's like, you know, talking about either do a really good why do it the same? I'm really trying to, I mean, I'm not playing piano and wearing a costume, you know, but we're really trying to make the song sound legit, you know. And
Well,
it's all
that's
70,
different. I think when you're playing in a tribute and cover band, that's different than like a metal band doing a cover version of.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But it's people's perspective, because who they think they know I am, you know, who they think.
Right.
Yeah, they anticipate the sound.
Yeah. They're thinking,
which is awesome, because you throw them a button, it's like, wow.
They think I'm gonna go Rocket Man or something, you know. And I'm not gonna do that, you know.
But you could.
Oh, well, of course I could, but it would be a different band though. The players that I have are like not metal people.
Yeah.
You know, so
it'd be like a key change, except suddenly the whole song becomes.
But you're
Slayer, you know, Slayer, Elton Slayer.
This next song's called "Love Lies Bleeding."
Yeah. And Metallica's version of "Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding" was
great.
Fucking
Great.
amazing. And it just, I'm like, I was going, not surprised. Bad motherfuckers going on. Yeah. Well, it upped the Elton coin one more. Wow, all the metalheads, you know, what are they doing Elton John for? Or they went, this is an Elton John song? This is not bad. Because it's Metallica, right? So
it's like when they did Whiskey in a Jar. The other folks are like, oh, this is
yeah, but some people didn't know it was a cover.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, no, I mean Elton John. I mean, like you said, I mean, just an absolute genius at songcraft. I mean, you gotta post some videos or something. 'Cause I gotta hear your voice, because your voices aren't similar. I gotta hear this, Jason. Yeah, he's an absolute genius.
It's interesting. Some of my bass player in my Elton tribute, we write. I'll confess, I've been trying to write songs that sound like Elton John, but they're all original. Right, and the bass player in my Elton tribute, Zeke, he's multi-instrumentalist. He'll send me piano doodles, and I'll put them in the machine and turn them into songs. Right, and it's been going well, and I'm trying to do that Elton thing, that tone, you know, the whole thing. And he points out that, like in Broken Teeth or in Dangerous Toys, when I'm at least using some of my chesty stuff, and maybe even when it's mixed voice, he'll go, that's Elton. That's I hear. He points out little things that he says that I stole from Elton. I don't. That's when I don't hear it. Is when I'm being myself and someone else goes, oh, you kind of sound like Elton there. No, wait, you know, kind of. That weird place in your head that you don't realize, you know.
It's all those inherent influences that you just picked up.
It's correct. It's the babysitter's fault. Yeah. It's the babysitter's fault.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say like fat bottom girls, but that's a different babysitter story. But yeah, no, you're.
Well, it's funny because I got, you can't really get into Elton, and then your older brother hey, you should if you like Elton, you should check this out, and it's like, Day at the Races. Right. So my older brother turned me on to, and that was my record collection, was really my younger brother turned me on to AC/DC and Judas Priest, which is strange because, I'm a couple years older, and then my older brothers were turning me on to stuff all the time. A lot of record swapping in my house, brothers, all brothers, no sisters, but had the babysitter.
I'm gonna say again,
this has been great. It's very, it's awesome to meet all of you.
Wow. Oh yeah, for sure.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, all three of you. Yeah, I hope you all three of you are welcome back. Really, anytime. Come back tomorrow. No, all three of you are welcome back anytime. I will definitely be in touch with you guys for future recordings for stuff. But this has really been great. I hope check out each other's music. Everyone out there watching, thanks for checking this out. Again, you've listened to. I was having a lot of fun being just an observer, listening to you three kind of riffing and sharing wisdom. It's just been a great 2 hours. So thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Of course.
I don't know. Thank you very much for coming on, Jason McMaster, Sabrina Cruz, and Farhad Hossain. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was wonderful to be here.
Yay.
Awesome. Bye, guys.